Hey there folks, in this video I'm going to talk about how to install the Dark Rock 4 cooler and what kind of performance gains you can get from just changing out that stock cooler. Alright, for this installation guide you will need some isopropyl alcohol. A magnetic screw bowl is not necessary, but it's really nice to have. A towel or rag to wipe off the CPU, as well as a coffee filter. It works really well in getting off the last little bit of grime off your CPU or any other components you might need for. And lastly, you're going to need a screwdriver, which already comes with the Dark Rock 4 cooler, so you are covered there. This is Geomackers with Aimless Geeks, and on to the video. First off folks, you're going to want to start by removing the old cooler. And once you have the cooler removed, go ahead and use that towel and some isopropyl alcohol to remove all the old thermal paste off of the CPU. One quick note, I'm sorry about the weird format to this video. I shot most of this with my smartphone while my system was down, so don't fault me too much for this. Anyway, you're going to want to follow this up with the coffee filter and get the last little bit of grime off of your CPU. I know it's a little bit weird, but it works really well. Next, you're going to take the package marked AMD, as this is an AMD installation guide. But before we really continue, go ahead and take out the RAM to your system. It's just going to get in the way later anyway. Go ahead and take out the plastic cylinders that came within the bag and put them over the mounting holes that are around your CPU. Next up is the brackets and the 4 screws that came along in the bag. Make sure you're using the inner part of the bracket and not the outer. The outer part is for an AM3 motherboard, and this build video is for an AM4. I'm not going to say too much about this part here, mostly because this is pretty straightforward and I don't want to bore you with the details. Although make sure you don't over tighten anything, as you will damage the board if you tighten it too much. Just make sure everything is secure, but that's pretty much it. Alright, go ahead and apply your thermal paste to the CPU. Now, you don't see me doing it in this video because my phone died while I was recording, so sorry about that folks. Anyway, go ahead and slip that last bracket in as demonstrated in the video. And when screwing it in, only screw in twice on one side first, because if you over tighten it, you won't be able to mount the other side. And go back and forth, just making sure you're spreading the pressure evenly as you tighten the rest of the way. Alright folks, we're almost done here. Just go ahead and mount the brackets to the fan like so. This part's pretty easy. Now, the real kicker is going to be getting the fan onto the cooler itself. Anyway, go ahead and start mounting the one side first, because you won't be able to get the other side if you try both simultaneously. Anyway, once you get to mounting the second side, go ahead and put a little force into it. I had quite a bit of trouble with this myself, but it does pop on there. Let's not forget to plug in the wire to your CPU cooler at the top of your board. And also real quick, we're done. Now all that's left is to plug in your RAM back in the board and we can begin testing. At this point in the video, it's been almost a week. This video was a bigger project than I thought it would initially be. Now, don't get me wrong, the actual cooler itself runs great. I mean, it's a beautiful cooler. Definitely does an amazing job on thermals. The biggest problem I had with this video was not so much the cooler, but really the ASRock motherboard. If you're running a regular CPU, it runs just fine. But if you're trying to overclock an APU, you really have to balance out how much of an overclock you pull towards the regular CPU side of things, and as well as the GPU side of things. You can't get extreme overclock on both at the same time. It has to be either one or the other, or some kind of balance somewhere in the middle. Anyway, with this cooler, I was able to get a stable clock of 3825 on the CPU at 1.38 volts, and a GPU clock of 1325 on the graphics side of things. Now lastly, the actual performance of this CPU cooler. Now if you look next to package, if you can see it here, this is the system at idle at 30 degrees Celsius. Since I'm recording, it's more around 33, 35 degrees. But anyway, Here's the system running Prime 95 after 10 minutes. As you can see here under package temperature, it's still like around 50 degrees, 53 degrees. It's really an amazing cooler. Yes, it's a bit extreme for the 2400G, but I'm kind of glad I did. I was able to really eke out some more performance out of my system, and even with all the problems I've been having. So all around, this is a really damn good cooler. And no, you didn't hear me curse. But in conclusion, the Be Quiet cooler good, the ASRock motherboard bad. Alright, not bad completely, they're just not great for APUs. But most likely for my case, I'm not going to be getting another ASRock motherboard anytime soon. But that is my video. Be Quiet cooler good. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested in this cooler. But this is Geode Mackis with Aimless Geeks, and as always, I have no idea what I'm doing.